So I have a whole lot to say about positive thinking. It's definitely changed for me a lot over the years, the concept of thinking positively. I'd like to introduce my story by saying that 10 years ago, I was a real mess. I was angry and very, very combative, and I had no healthy relationships with anybody. I was in a bad place. I was depressed and extremely isolated. And to be honest with you, positive thinking played much smaller role in my life than I thought. Not because it wasn't important, but because it was just as crucial for me to focus on what was wrong as it was focusing on the good. What I mean by this is that for those of us who are huge proponents of positive thinking, I feel like it takes away from the fact that you have real things going on in your life and you have to come to terms with them. You have to come to terms with the side of you that's the ugliest. And you can't really sprinkle, nice words on yourself when you're dealing with really, really difficult parts of you. I think of it like a house you need to renovate, right? And there's so many things that you have to break down. You have to break down walls, you have to, break through windows, you have to tear down doors. And when you look at it in the beginning, it's really, really ugly, isn't it? Like, it doesn't look good, but you have an intention of rebuilding that house, right? You have an intention of rebuilding your life. So you have to sort through every part of what doesn't make sense to you anymore. You have to sort through every part of, this house. You have to get rid of those walls and you have to, reconstruct new walls. You have to buy new windows, buy new doors, repaint the whole place. And there's a lot of frustration there. You argue with the people who are doing the work. It's too expensive, it's too this, it's too that. But in the end, you have this intention of having a much more beautiful house than what you had before. And for me, that's how I feel about rewiring and re-engineering the way you think. You can't positively think your way through these things. If you're dealing with really, really deep, angry issues, you have to come face to face with them and deal with them, and it gets really, really ugly. You have to deal with guilt, shame, disgust with yourself. You have to work through those emotions and try to do them in as healthy a way as you possibly can. You have to infuse self-compassion and kindness and gentleness to yourself while you're dealing with those things. And when I was working through my own issues, when I was working through the fact that I was very good at lashing out at people and being very, very hurtful, what I had to do was acknowledge what I had done. Acknowledge the pain that I caused and just sit with that. And when you're sitting with those feelings, when you're sitting with that shame and guilt, you need a lot more than just positive thinking. I feel like it's a very, very shallow way of dealing with very profound emotions that you're going through. You need to be holistic when you are going through a healing and change process in your life. You need to deal with the positive and the negative, and you need to deal with both in a healthy of a way as you possibly can. Because you can go the positive direction and start becoming delusional, right, about what you have done and the pain that you have caused. And, you kind of allow yourself, you start making excuses because you're not thinking positively. And when you do that, you run away and completely shy away from what you need to own up to, right? Taking responsibility for the pain that you've caused in your life and in other people's lives, it takes a lot of courage, and it's a very painful process. And I don't see where positive thinking comes in there, to be honest with you, when you're being real about what you've done. Or maybe I'm contradicting myself. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, man, you need to cut yourself some slack. You're doing your best, this is the first time you've really dealt with situations like these. You've never, ever, ever acknowledged what you've done. So pat yourself on the back and, give yourself some credit. So if that's positive thinking, then yeah, that helps. But it's almost like a cushion, right? When you go into those really, really ugly, deep places, you're going to need a lot more than positive thinking. You're going to need therapy. Some people are going to need medication to regulate their emotional and mental states. Others are going to need to be part of support groups. Digging into your past and drudging through that stuff and letting it out takes a lot more than just positive thinking. As contradictory as I may have sounded, I just feel like positive thinking alone is not going to give you the healing that you want. It's not going to fix your life as much as practicing being more self-aware and practicing emotional awareness is. To me, the practice of self-awareness and emotional awareness is a lot more powerful than just positive thinking. Self-awareness is about recognizing who you really are. It's about recognizing what you're good at, what you're not good at, your strengths and your weaknesses. It's about realizing and being aware of those emotions that take control of you. It's about being aware of how destructive you can be and wanting to do something about it on a consistent and daily basis. Emotional awareness and self-awareness are much, much more powerful. And, adding positive thinking to those two very powerful concepts will definitely help you go further. But it's not pretty. There's a lot of things that you have to work through. I mean, you've watched shows like Iyanla Fix My Life, and you've seen the reason why I use Iyanla Fix My Life is because I think that's one of those shows where they go into very deep problems that people are going through, so that they can start to identify and recognize where who they are now is affected by who or what they did or what was done to them in their past. And to sit with that stuff, it's not pretty, I know I've said that many times, but it isn't. So yeah, positive thinking to me plays a significantly smaller role in my life than it used to. I don't give it as much credit as I do emotional awareness. But I'd love to know what you think. You can tell me what your thoughts are. But that's been my experience, to tell you the truth. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I will be posting more videos like these. And if you feel that there was a message in here that can resonate with a friend, please go ahead and share it. Thanks for watching. My name is Sheila McKenna, and this is Push Factor.